same for you.
Yo, welcome back to Underestimated Podcast. Your host, You're back with another episode. Welcome to this double header today. For the first time ever on the podcast, we have gotten ourselves into a double upload. So this is the second of the double upload. So man, we know that the WNBA does not deserve. I'm sorry, does not get the recognition and exposure it deserves. Y'all gotta really take it from me, someone who's 17 who has plenty of other things that I can do with my life. I have sat and watched in its entirety too numerous amounts of WNBA games. I'm actually a WNBA fan. I got the app on my phone. I'm always in tune with it as far as ESPN goes or Bleacher Report or anything like that. Um, I was just watching a game last night where I saw Asia Wilson, who's a hometown native from, just like where I'm from, um, scored 53 points last night against the Atlanta Dream. It's tying a single game scoring record for points in a game um, with Liz Cambage from 2018, which I'm gonna get into not in this episode per se, but she may get the first uh, locked in player episode on the podcast. I haven't just done a podcast episode where I just talk about one player in particular, but she may get the first one because that just seems so sensational to me last night. I feel like it deserves way more recognition and credibility than it is getting. As of right now, I mean, it's still fresh, but if anybody's going to be the one to give her flowers, let me be at the front of the list. So probably sometime next week, y'all see an episode about Asia Wilson. So be prepared. That's kind of giving y'all a bit of a heads up, but yeah. So, but to get into this, I was going to title it mid-season, but it's not technically mid-season anymore because y'all know the NBA is composed of 82 games. So mid-season for them is like somewhere between 30 to 41 games because they're like half of the season. But the WNBA is composed of about 36 games. Um, I think they're on game 32 as of now, so they have about 4 games left. So this is just simply the 2023 WNBA award prediction. I'm just going to go down every award. I'm going to give you 3 candidates because I'm sure they're going to do 3 finalists and then give an overall winner. Give y'all 3 candidates of who I feel are deserving for the award, and then give y'all my actual winner. So actually, I kind of did this backwards. I kind of did this from uh most considerably cared about award to least considerably cared about. So I kind of have to backtrack and kind of do this backwards from the way I planned it out. So we're gonna start off with Coach of the Year. So first up for Coach of the Year, I have New York Liberty's coach Sandy Brondello. As we know, the New York Liberty have a team record of 25-7, which would put them first in the Eastern Conference and second in all of the WNBA with a 78 win percentage and a 13-3 conference record. So the New York Liberty are this year's what was it? The Commissioner's Cup. They are the 2023 Commissioner's Cup champion. Um, I've been saying all year, and I'm not gonna go against it now, especially not now. That the New York Liberty and the Las Vegas Aces will square off in the WNBA Finals to see who will be crowned the WNBA champion this season. Um, and that just does not subsequent the value or the missing value of the X's and O's being drawn up by Sandy Brondello. I mean, of course, she has a great roster composed of her X's and O's where you have players like MVPs on the roster like Jonquel Jones, Brianna Stewart, all-time greats like Courtney Vandersloot, one of the upcoming greats and one of the better younger players in the league, and Sabrina Ionescu. Um, Also with great bench players like along the likes of Betnai Elaney. The New York Liberty have just been on a tear this year. They are like, I believe the Aces and them are the two so-called, so to speak, super teams of the WNBA. So I'm really excited to see them square off. I think with this new MVP conversation between Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart, it's always fun to see them go head to head, and I think it's going to be fun to see them go head to head for about 5 games, or is it 7 in the finals? I think it's either 5 or 7. Um, to see who is just a superior top dog between the two of them. Um, but yeah, all that comes from the great X's and O's and the great coaching of Sandy Brondello. Now, next, I have from the Connecticut Sun, the coach of the Connecticut Sun, Stephanie White. The Connecticut Sun currently have a record of 23-10, which would place them second in the Western Conference and third in all the WNBA, with a 70% win percentage, along with a 13-3 conference record. Now the Connecticut Sun have what you would can be composed of like a veteran like roster, just a lot of great sufficient veterans that just collectively together compose a great overall team. Um, the Connecticut Sun play defense very well, and that's what's kind of been the driving force for them. But that also comes from the defensive playmaking creativity of Stephanie White. Stephanie White is a coach that's been predicated on her defense, and from where the Connecticut stand now from a defensive standpoint, you can basically piggyback that to and pinpoint that to Stephanie White. Now, last but not least, who I think will win the Coach of the Year for the second straight season in a row, Las Vegas Aces coach Becky Hammon. Congrats to Becky Hammon. She was just recently enshrined into the Basketball Hall of Fame because she's not only a great coach now, but she was also a pretty stellar player back in the day. And that just goes to show why she's the perfect candidate for Coach of the Year again this year, with her beloved Las Vegas Aces at a current record of 29-4, placing them first in the Western Conference and also first in all the WNBA with an 88 win percentage and 15-2 conference record. Me personally, I'm an Aces fan. When it comes to the WNBA, wow. Okay. Whoa. Sorry. That was wow. I'm an Aces fan when it comes to the WNBA, and I do feel like they are going to be, I say this in an unbiased way, going to win the championship again for a second straight year. You have an MVP caliber talent like Asia Wilson, who I believe is working her way into WNBA, stellar status. I mean, hierarchy, with the performance that she's been able to put up in only 5 years. But not just her, they just have a great roster and have such great depth. Like he's just like Becky can throw any five out there and they'll be successful. I can really go down the list of the team. You got Asia Wilson, you got a great point guard, or who they call actually the point god of the WNBA, and Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, one of the greatest of all time, and Candace Parker, Kirsten Bell, Sydney Colson, Alicia Clark. I mean, just a great roster top to bottom. And they're just going to be a very hard team to overcome and beat if you're any team looking to make a serious run of contention in the WNBA playoffs this upcoming few weeks or so. Like I said, I feel like I have the Aces winning the championship this year, and the only team that comes close to them in my mind is the New York Liberty. So Now that's out the way. Let's move forward to the next award, which is the sixth Woman of the Year. Obviously, well, I don't know if they consider the award the sixth Woman of the Year or the sixth Player of the Year award. But either way, it goes. Just the like the sixth man of the NBA. It's the same thing with this. I'm just with the females. So my first candidate that I have is guard from the Chicago Sky, Dana Evans. The Sky haven't had the best season. However, that absolutely shouldn't detract from the season Dana Evans is having. She's averaging 8.8 points per game with 3.2 assists while playing strong border protection on a daily premise. Evans puts forth a convincing defense as maybe the best edge safeguard of all significant Sixth Lady of the Year up comers. On par with that, Carrington's off ball safeguard is Evans may be the best screen exploring monitor in the association. The midpoints under a tick a game, however, she gets a few diversions essentially by expecting screens and activity off the ball. Here, Evans expects Christy Wallace is falling off of a Nalissa Smith screen, and she meets Wallace at the 3 point line, impeccably expecting the pass. This expectation considers Evans to be an ideal situation to get the take and begin the progress offense for Chicago. In any event, when she's ready, Evans utilizes her most modest casing for her potential benefit, constraining turnovers on watches with a looser ball handle. Expectation on these kinds of plays begins Chicago's changed offense, which enacts one more part of her game that is so significant, her passing. Presently, three helps may not seem like a ton for a guard, but rather Evans sets out endless more shot open opportunities that can be followed in the paint. Whether it's in the pick and roll or experiencing significant change, Evans has a characteristic vibe for where her partners are on the floor consistently. One of her best passes of the time came against the Sun. Her Here she runs the pick and roll with E. Williams and Connecticut in a semi-drop inclusion. Her uses the play quite well. Tiffany Hayes somewhat overfocuses on Mariah Marbury, and Evans finds her cutting with a some with a lovely bob pass that must be ideal to get to her. Profiting by the other group's guarding slips is something Evans does well indeed. And despite the fact that she doesn't shoot the ball very well from three this season, she positively will continue to shoot as a 46% of her shots fight against imminent loss the bend. Along these lines, groups actually play as a risky shooter danger, which considers her to give dispersion in any event, which in her shot isn't falling. Evans is worth as an edge, as a point guard, and instinctual passer makes her one of, in the event that not the most significant same player in the WNBA this season. Evans can succeed on account of her capacity to shoot from profound, have her chance off rapidly, and enter. Vogel called her broad in range of abilities flightly, making it difficult for protectors to enter in one region. Besides, Evans, the little guard, has gained notoriety for being unafraid to adapt to the situation in defining moments on large stages. She is most certainly has the velour, Vogel said. It's kind of banality that the little player must be interpret, yet they truly do. Now, this season in Dana Evans' regular season, she's averaging 9 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 1 steal, while shooting 37% from the field and 29% from three, and also 85% from the free throw line. It was very hard trying to figure out the last spot for this award. um, with who was very well deserving of it. But I think it's Dana Evans. She's a great player on both sides of the ball, and doesn't let her size kind of just um, take away from her aggressiveness in the paint and drive against bigger defenders. Now, with the next person, the next candidate that I have from the Connecticut Sun, Dejanay. I hope I'm saying this right. Dejanay Carrington. Regardless of losing Jonquil Jones this late spring and Brianna Jones last month to an Achilles injury, the Connecticut Sun have been okay, and Dejanay Carrington has arisen as one of the group's most significant players. Averaging just shy of 9 points and 3 rebounds, Carrington is shooting a vocation best 39% from three, and in spite of the fact that it is on not many endeavors, it has a major effect when she plays off the ball with an extraordinary passer like Alyssa Thomas. One of the most misjudged pieces of Carrington's down is her development off the ball. In Connecticut's last game before the elite player break against the Chicago Sky, Carrington streaked her off ball capacities. Here, Marina Mabry overfocuses on the approaching Dawana Bonner screen. Carrington facilitates this and blazes secondary passage, and Alyssa Thomas tracks down her for an uncontested layup. The cut makes Mabry turn a contrary way. His association among Thomas and Carrington has been in plain view the whole month of July, and it could make sense of why the Sun have a 109 hostile rating and 93 cautious rating um, when those two offer the court. Without a doubt, the example size is little, yet a plus 16 net rating is very nearly 250 minutes proposes that something is working. This carries us to the next level in significant part to Carrington's down, her guard. Carrington is an extraordinary on-ball protector, returning to her Baylor days. Anyway, in an association where players are continually screening and cutting, it is off-ball protection and screen route that has become much more important. In any event, when she gets marginally beat secondary passage, having dynamic hands in the passing paths really powers a ton of turnovers. Connecticut switches the pick and roll among Mabry and Elizabeth Williams here, despite the fact that Carrington doesn't completely recuperate. She keeps her hands dynamic in the play and powers a turnover. Carrington makes an exceptionally impressive case for Sixth Lady of the Year in light of her powerful guard, important three-point shooting, and ideal cutting, which raises the roof of this Connecticut group that has lost quite possibility of its most significant player. Now for Dejanay Carrington's 2023-24 regular season stats, she's averaging 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal while shooting 42% from the field, 40% from three, and 74% from the free throw line. Now, with who I have actually winning the award, from the Las Vegas Aces, forward Alicia Clark. In the event that there's one player in the WNBA who typifies the expression 3 and D, it very well may be Alicia Clark. She has shot more than 36% from three, no less than multiple times in her vocation, and this year has been the exemption. Clark played a lot lesser job coming to Vegas rather than her time in Washington last year, as she has fit in flawlessly. Clark is averaging 6.6 points per game while shooting 37% from three, yet her effect is more profound than this. The Aces at present have the best hostile rating in WNBA history, and quite possibly one of the greatest inquiry many felt they expected to address was the little forward job. Explicitly a wing who could shoot and shield. Clark has done what she's been doing her whole vocation, which is make shots. Vegas is known for their ball development, Um, and when Clark is open in the corner, after groups have been compelled to overcommit to one's Vegas is some. Without a doubt, it helps playing in the most skilled group in the association. However, it is as yet unquestionable that Clark plays had a significant impact in Vegas's getting off to one of the best season begins in WNBA history. The Aces versus the Liberty matchup prior this month was supposed to be a final C, and Vegas made simple work of their rival. Clark's safeguard at this stage in her vocation is as yet amazing. Against a group like the Liberty, who ran a ton of high pick and rolls, Clark was entrusted with exchanging onto a portion of the game's best players regularly as she took care of it well. One of the features of the game was when Clark began the belonging of Brianna Stewart exchange easily onto Sabrina Ionescu and utilizes her length to drive a turnover against Ionescu, attempted to compel a section pass back to Stewart. Plays like that is what this being the reason that the Aces are the reason she is viewed as one of, if in the event that is not the most ideal 3-and-D player in WNBA history. Clark's capacity to shoot, move off the ball regardless shield at a significant level considers her to coincide in practically any hostile framework there is. At the point when the term esteem is raised in b-ball, um, there isn't anything more significant than a job player being expanded in essentially any climate. For this reason, Clark has assumed such an essential part in different title groups in her vocation. I don't believe that Alicia Clark is not just one of the best 3-and-D players um, off the bench in the WNBA. I mean, on the Aces, but I mean all the WNBA in its entirety. Like she is the catalyst and the driving force to what the bench has been able to provide for the Aces this season. And without her being there, considering all the injuries that the Aces have also faced this season, they would more than likely not be the same team, or would be a shell of themselves without her being there. In 2023-2024, this regular season, she's posted a stature of 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, while shooting 47% from the field, 41% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line. Now let's move forward into the Most Improved Player Award. So the first candidate that I have from the Atlanta Dream, guard Alicia Gray. Alicia Gray played for the Atlanta Dream in the 2023 WNBA season, which was exchanged to the Dream, from the Dallas Wings in January of 2023. She was named the first pick without precedent from her profession in July of 2023. She had a normal average of 17.5 points, 5 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and 1.1 steals per game during the season. The Dream added a significant piece in the offseason as Alicia Gray. Gray has been a marginal top pick player thus far. She has had a hot beginning to the season, following a noteworthy execution and the success against the Lynx. Gray stood in opposition to White. She is having a decent beginning to the season, according to B. Terrell of Made for the W against the Lynx. Dark attached to profession high with 26 assists. 26 points. She likewise added 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks while shooting 47% from the field, going 8 for 17, and 50% from the field, shooting 3 for 6 from the 3-point line, and a 7 out of 8 from the free throw line. Alicia Gray joined the Dream in the offseason through an exchange with the Dallas Wings. Gray has been averaging a profession high 18 points per game, 8.5 rebounds per game, and 4 assists. Both her rebounds and assists are likewise vocation highs. She's shooting 38% from the field and 27% from the 3 point line and 82% from the free throw line. While her proficiency is down, Gray's presence for the Dream is a very welcomed one. Gray is in her seventh season in the WNBA, having played her whole profession to this point with the Wings, who drafted her with the number 4 pick by and large in the 2007 WNBA draft. 2017 WNBA draft, I'm sorry. She gives the Dream an extra scoring choice. Gray has a strong and athletic actual form and a smooth and beguiling component to her development, both disagreeably and protectively. Her ball handling is sound, yet a piece upstanding as of now. She can make a off the spill and gets to the edge easily in the half court or change. She has an unadulterated shooting stroke, yet additionally can drive and complete in the path. Her solid form and unstable moves to create, keeping her protector speculating on how she will manage the ball, you need to regard her leap shot, or as most would regard it as the pull up. When Yet when you attempt to body her up, she won't hold back to circumvent you from a speedy draw or layup. So Alicia Gray, although she is currently hurt right now, um, I don't think it's anything major. I think it's just simply, as from what I reviewed earlier, just day to day. She didn't play in the clash against the historical night for Asia Wilson in the game against the Aces last night. Um, but if the Atlanta Dream want any bit of a chance to compete for a title this upcoming playoffs, then they're gonna need Alicia Gray very much healthy to get that done. Next candidate that I have is from the Dallas Wings forward. I always feel like I'm gonna get her name incorrect, but Satu Sabali. I think that's close enough if I got it wrong. Anyway, with an improvement score of 6.35, no other person in this race has gone from star to hotshot very like Sabali. As far as I might be concerned, she appeared to be a MVP applicant from the get-go in the season. Yet, a vocation best scoring normal improvement of 3.7 isn't out of this world. There are players who have raised their numbers more than Sabali. However, she might get thought in view of her storyline and the titles she has gathered in turning into a first-time top-pick starter. She is portrayed as an athletic border entertainer with better size and flexibility than the backcourt. She rebounds, handles, and goes after it in an up-tempo game pace, drives and cuts through guards with body control to the edge, and is hazardous off the spill, or off the dribble rather, with a very fast first step, and has a triple danger game with delicate touch to the circular segment, and is among the tip-top possibilities in the class of 2017. Satu Sabali. So the Dallas Wings have been a very peculiar team this whole season. They kind of just surface among middle of the pack, which is kind of keen to say, being that the WNBA only has 12 teams. Like middle of the pack is only like the seventh or eighth team rather. But part of that comes from the stellar play of Satu Sabali. She's definitely a great compliment to someone who is a generational talent in Enrique Kumbawale. Um, and that duo for years to come, especially this year, is going to be looking very, very dangerous. In this particular season, though, she is currently averaging 18 points a game, along with 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Basically, getting it done on both ends of the floor. But with her size and build, that is kind of no question or no surprise rather. While also adding on 43% from the field, 36% from the 3 point line, and 88% from the free throw line. Now, last but not least, who I have actually winning this award from the Seattle Storm, Jewel Lloyd, guard Jewel Lloyd. With an improvement score of 6.4, Lloyd's vocation best scoring normal is up 7.8 to 25.7. She is on target to establish herself as the WNBA standard for points per game in a season. Nonetheless, she isn't having vocation best exhibitions in rebounds, assists, or steals, which is the reason her improvement score is lower than a 7.8. One thing neutralizing Lloyd in this race is the way that we definitely realized she was the benefit. Her numbers were just lower since she was playing close by Breanna Stewart. So in the 2023-2024 season, she is averaging 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, shooting 38% from the field, 38% from three, and 89% from the free throw line. And which last year she averaged 16 points per game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, shooting 40% from the field, and 39% from three, and 89% from the free throw line. So basically, although her efficiency numbers are somewhat down, that's the only thing. But to me, to jump from 16, 15 points a game to almost 24, 25 is a pretty significant jump. That's like a 10-point differential in points. As far as rebounds is concerned, she shot up to basically 2 more rebounds than she got last season. With assists, she pretty much stayed on pace with that. Same thing with steals. From a field goal percentage standpoint, she significantly dropped about 2%. With the 3-point percentage, she dropped from about 1% actually, and then with the free throw percentage, she basically maintained the same. I think all things considered, she deserved this award. I think she is the most improved player from year to year, dating back from last season, and I just certainly believe that she is a clear-cut winner. She was the All-Star Game MVP this year, and has now earned the nickname the Gold Mamba. And if you're getting that kind of status on you, I think a Most Improved Player award isn't very out of reach for you. All right, so now let's move forward into the Rookie of the Year. I think this is not even a close discussion of who's going to win the award. I'm going to give you all 3 possible potential candidates and who's going to be my winner. So first up, I have from the Minnesota Lynx forward Diamond Miller. Diamond Miller is a new kid on the block, rather to speak, in the WNBA, who was drafted by the Minnesota Lynx as the 2nd overall pick in the 2023 WNBA draft. She has been named the WNBA Rookie of the Month for July of 2023. She's averaging 13.2 points per game in her rookie season, which is the 2nd best in the group. Miller was harmed toward the beginning of June and missed almost the whole month with a lower leg sprain prior to returning to the Lynx prevail upon the season on June 27th. However, her experience on the floor has been restricted. Miller's utilization rate, which was 25.8, drives all rookies in the association. Diamond Miller is an incredible competitor with a fast initial step, especially for her size. She has the speed and the horizontal snappiness to monitor a few more modest players, and the ranginess of impulses to pivot the back line and give assistance to side edge insurance. She can believably safeguard like size wings and front court players. She is known for her physicality, scoring skill, and flexibility on the court, and is viewed as one of the most encouraging youthful players in the WNBA. So Diamond Miller this season in her rookie season is averaging 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 38% from the field, 26% from the 3-point line, and 81% from the free throw line. She's more likely going to be the runner-up for this award. Having a great rookie season. I mean, she's just doing what a potential the second pick is expected to do. You know, you're behind the best of the best in your draft class, and you're just right there with the, at the top. You're right under it. So, I think the Minnesota Lynx got a very great talent in Diamond Miller. And hey, who knows? We might be seeing. I don't want to call it too crazy yet because of who's I'm about to mention, but this could be for Minnesota Lynx fans the next Maya Moore. But that is some big shoes to fill. Being that Maya Moore is one of the greatest WNBA players of all time, and will certainly hands down the best Minnesota Link, of all time. So that's very big shoes to fill if you're a Diamond Miller. So next, coming from the Atlanta Dream, I have guard Haley Jones. Haley Jones is a rookie in the WNBA who was drafted by the Atlanta Dream as the 6th overall pick in the 2023 WNBA draft. She has been playing great in her rookie season, giving extra playmaking to the Dream's group. She has a bit by bit accustomed to the WNBA like as a tenderfoot and is known for her flexibility on the court. Haley Jones is a fabulous competitor with a fast initial step, especially for her size. She has the speed and horizontal snappiness to monitor a few more modest players and the ranginess and impulses to pivot the back line and give assistant side edge insurance. She can believably safeguard like sized wings and front court players. She is known for her flexibility. I might have put the same thing twice on accident. My bad. But still, it's Haley Jones. Haley Jones has been having. Well, this was a very tough thing to put. I knew 2 girls to put down here, but that third one was very tough because after the 2, after I believe who's going to win the Rookie of the Year and the runner-up, the rest of the rookie classes is just kind of all like toe-to-toe with each other. Nobody is kind of leaping or having a very wide margin between the two of any other rookie comparison in the league right now. So I just went in with somebody like Haley Jones, who I know very well of her game, not just from the WNBA, but from college as well, with her playing at Stanford. But she is definitely known for her flexibility on the court and is viewed as one of the most encouraging youthful players in all the WNBA. And this season, she is currently averaging 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, while shooting 33% from the field and 20% from 3 and 70% from the free throw line. Now let's get into who I think is going to win the award. That would be from the Indiana Fever, obviously forward Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston is convincingly the best player in this class, which is obviously no surprise. A future protective, sturdy, who has superb touch and persistent as a scorer in the post. She is known for her cautious abilities, especially her shot blocking ability. She is averaging 14 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block on 67% shooting from the field. Boston has really turned into a more productive scorer, averaging a great number of focuses per ownership this year than her lesser season. Her promising introduction with the USA Ball senior group at the pre-World Cup camp recommends that she has hang with proficient players right now. The Fever acquired some guard profundity this offseason with Erica Wheeler, Christy Wallace, and Maya Caldwell, yet that middle spot is Boston's for the ability. Aaliyah Boston is a rookie in the WNBA who was drafted by the Indiana Fever with the first overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft. She has been setting records right on time as a rookie and has been named the WNBA Rookie of the Month um, for May and June of 2023. She is, as of now, impacting the world forever in her 10-foot season as she is the primary player to begin her WNBA profession with three sub, sequential rounds of 10 points or more and 60% shooting or better shooting from the field. Boston is averaging, like I just said. But she's averaging 15, 8, 2, 1, and 1, shooting 60% from the field, 67% from three, and 76% from free throw line. Let's talk about Aaliyah Boston, man. Let's get into it. Another one of my hometown native. Well, she's not a hometown native per se, but she played for my hometown. So or home state rather, in South Carolina. So Aaliyah Boston, I did reiterate this in the WNBA Top 25 Players video a while back, which was I think that was episode 7, I believe. So y'all can go check that out if y'all would like. But Aaliyah Boston is special, y'all. I believe when it's all said and done, Aaliyah Boston will be one of the greatest WNBA players of all time. And she's, working her way up that list right now. I mean, she's on pace to reaching WNBA stardom, superstardom, actually, and superiority right now. She was named her All-Star her first year. I think if the Fever can surround her with a pretty sufficient group of girls, that they can be dangerous with Aaliyah Boston being the draft pick. This is her team right now, and very well deserving so. Because like I said, she's special, man. She's definitely generational talent. And honestly, I don't really know much about the Indiana Fever's history, but she's really on pace to be the best Indiana Fever player of all time. So yeah, it's like a clear cut favorite as far as the Rookie of the Year is concerned with Aaliyah Boston. Now we get into, if I'm not mistaken, the Defensive Player of the Year award. So with the Defensive Player of the Year award, first I have on the candidacy Los Angeles Sparks forward Nneka Ogwumike. She is known for her smothering guard and recorded a double-double of 19 points and 11 rebounds in a game against the Las Vegas Aces on August 19th, 2023. She has an average of nearly 2 steals per game in the 2023 season. It is anticipated that Ogwumike ought to have a major event against the Chicago Sky and could score a double-double as the greater part of LA's offense that comes from within. She is a player who won't ever be mistaken for a gaudy player, yet her screens are set with strength. Her back cuts are made with accuracy. Her hustle and smarts have gotten 4 appearances in the All-Protected First group for the All-WNBA First team. Also, she has appeared to be hurried with the ball in her grasp, serenely evaluating adversaries prior to taking her action. So, in the 2023-2024 season, Nneka Ogwumike averaged 20 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block while shooting 50% from the field and 33% from the three-point line, while also adding 89% from the free throw line. Nneka Ogwumike, one of my favorite players in all the WNBA. Shorty's a dog, especially on defense. And that's just despite where her scoring numbers are. Actually, she's a great defender. I believe she actually will come up third in voting for the WNBA Defensive Player of the Year award. But that is no testament to how great of a defender she is. She's a great defender, not just on the perimeter, but in the paint as well. And can honestly guard, to be honest, depending on who it is, 1 through 5. I think that the safe answer would be like 1 through 3, 4, but I would say 1 through 5 is not that far of a reach either. So next, from the Connecticut Sun, who I believe will be a runner-up for this award, I have forward Alyssa Thomas. All Alyssa Thomas has best been notable for her gigantic protection this season, as well as for the course of her vocation in its aggregate. She is known for her smothering guard and was named to the WNBA All Defensive Team in 2017, 2019, and 2020. As per ESPN, she's averaging 5 assists per game and has been a vital participant in the U.S. Ladies Public Group in the FIBA Ladies Reality Cup. Um, in a game against the Los Angeles Sparks on September 7, 2019, Thomas had a prevailing presentation on the two closures of the floor and led her group to triumph. Thomas set up the initial 2020-10 detail line this previous week in success over the Minnesota Lynx, the ninth triple-double of her vocation. It's not difficult to fail to focus on silly that it's assuming you become involved with the curiosity of a triple-double. There's a constant sense of she's restricting and on it. Will she get it? And look for the outcome. You can become involved with the entire Woods triple double when what separates AT is the threes per ownership influence. Alyssa Thomas exemplifies the interaction. Each circumstance is characterized by making the right play for the Sun or the flip side. Connecticut runs a spread out read and respond framework predicated less upon play calls and more on taking what the protection gives you and turning it against them. There isn't a player fabricated like Thomas who can deal with that kind of offense in the manner she does, which makes the Sun such a captivating group. She has forward size frequently playing the 5 for the scaled down Sun. She has the rawness and strength of a center, the speed and snappiness of a point guard rather. She has screen and post up like a power forward while mixing with flawless passing vision and an extraordinary capacity to convey the ball where she needs to. Alyssa Thomas is definitely not a 3-level scorer. However, she is a 3-level effect through the manner in which she cycles, produces, and runs the game at the center of the Suns' offense. Hard to deny a spill handoff, drop handoff, run by Thomas in an unfilled corner, and she's turning rapidly to drive the path herself. She succeeds in fast pitch activities and has gotten more squeeze as a roller for the Suns as the years gone on. While there is an intrinsic further breaking point to Thomas's scoring and proficiency, the possibly genuine thump on her while fixating on silly trifles for MVP, there has never truly been a player to do what she's doing in the manner she's doing it with the viability she gives. That is without referencing her guarded endeavors, where I would agree that she's the pound for pound best defender in the association. Connecticut flourishes when their protective moment can direct the game, second in association and cautious rating behind the Aces, and tied for the first in constrained turnover rate. Play with the small gathering since Brianna Jones' physical issue, the Sun depend on coming down ready while pivoting firstly behind it. Thomas is at the same time the tip of the lance. Mind-blowing at supporting out on ball screens and has the biggest edge for the mistake in the game, equipped for covering the court on different occasions and belonging to some other activities. There is many times a thought raised in present-day basketball of having the option to watch 1 through 5, and that normally alludes to of the player range of abilities and flexibility to the periodically. Alyssa Thomas can do that essentially every belonging. She's flexible, she's predominant. She's underperceived, and quite possibly one of the best passers in basketball. And she's assembly a memorable season deriving of MVP thought on the off chance that not the honor completely. Alyssa Thomas is like she reminds me so much of Russell Westbrook. Or if you want to take it like somewhat further, but not really though, like a Draymond Green type. Like she had that Draymond Green effect about her. Like she can do whatever is asked of Alyssa Thomas on the basketball court, she can do it. Whether it's going to score, whether it's to get her teammates involved, whether it's rebounding, whether it's defending the other team's best player, Alyssa can do it. Alyssa can literally do it all. Um, it's just that she gets the rap of the attention because of she's on the being on the Sun. I mean, the Sun aren't bad, but when you have teams like the Liberty and the Aces, and with it also being only 12 teams in the WNBA in total, you don't per se get the recognition of a wide variety as you would like. But Alyssa Thomas is special, and she definitely deserves more flowers with all the ship doubles that she's racking up. Um, so it's safe to say that she's, in my eyes, going to be the runner-up for this um, WNBA Defensive Player of the Year award this year. But with who I have winning it for the second time back to back, from the Las Vegas Aces, forward Asia Wilson. Las Vegas Aces point guard Kelsey Plum gave one colleague a ringing support following the group's success on a Friday night. Asia Wilson, how about we start the mission presently individuals defensive player of the year? The Atlanta Dream leapt out to an astonishing 2-0 beginning to the season. Their best beginning start around 2017, prodded on by the play of youngster Ryan Howard. Their defense has been firm. Change play has started their offense, and the veterans they got by means of exchange and free organization the slow time of year have given an unshakable groundwork. The pros basically had different plans on Friday night. Vegas straightened out a lot of what the Dream needed to do out of ball screens, exchanging most of the activities not including the five spot, something they've done regularly this year with previous beginning community Liz Cambage now involving an individual from the Las Vegas Sparks. The Aces have rebuilt and moved to Wilson as an individual from the beginning five, or the starting five rather. The Aces are positively more modest, however, they've compensated for it with the action and animosity on ball screens. In the event that Wilson is confronting a decent inside presence, the frail side protector dives into the post and the remainder of the guard pivots in like manner. It's a more demanding brand of ball, however, the pros are embracing it, something lead trainer Becky Hammond brought up after the previous evening success. We're little, Wilson is at our five, so we must piece. And they've all truly become involved with not making anything simple, particularly post gets, as Becky Hammond said. Her sharpness with regards to what's happening in the paint has been thrilling. I told her she must be Tim Duncan for us. She needs to be Draymond Green for us, where she's talking continually and tracking down anything that gets through her paint. And she's purchased in and worked really hard. She's been sensational because Wilson frequently plays up to the level on screens, making it hard to dice up the safeguard from the center of the floor. Apparently, 50% of Wilson's blocks have been on pull-up challenges when she plays at that level. Throughout 4 games in 2022, Wilson had 15 blocks and heavenly imprint, and the association by a long shot. She impeded 55 shots her 10-foot season in 2018, the most she has in her vocation, and she did that north of 33 games. She's been master at getting the dismissals, yet at keeping the ball in play. Subsequent to revisiting every one of her smacks, generally 50% of them straightforwardly brought about a progress as an open door. It sounds minor, however, brief expertise can have a tremendous effect. It would be uncalled for to anticipate that she could keep up the speed the entire season, yet the hot beginning and a striking and substantial change in her cautious methodology. Hammond over and over has referenced Wilson's upfront investment on edge, and the action is tightened up and establishing the vibe for the Aces. We must piece, we must scrap, and this is something we missed out on against DC, the Mystics, said guard Kelsey Plum. That was something that should have been in the very front this evening, so I was truly glad at first when she emerged. We had a lot of energy. We're pivoting, boxing out, we're getting on the move, and that is the point at which we're at our best. They're getting out on the move and playing with pace frequently. The Aces are seventh in pace at 84 and a half belongings each 40 minutes, close to average. Try not to let that fool you. In any case, at the association, high speed in 2021 was 83.8 belongings each 40 minutes by the New York Liberty. That would rank just ninth in this ongoing year. It'll be truly intriguing to perceive how that does not or does even out as the year goes on. On the grounds that groups are flying, the Aces' capacity to get pauses and to get stops and make turnovers, they are first in blocks per game and have been fundamentally sound in launching their generally profound, powerful offense. This is belonging a particularly extraordinary um, illustration of the Vegas protection and Wilson's effect. There aren't numerous bigs in the WNBA who've given the inclusion flexibility and senses that she does, permitting the Aces to get somewhat crazy and forceful. So Asia, to take away from her offensive game, he's averaging about 10 rebounds, two steals, and two blocks per game. Not only is Asia such a dog on offense, she can also guard 1 through 5 as well and guard your best player on the other team, which just makes her so special. Um, because not only do I feel like she's the best player in the WNBA in its entirety, but she also is the best defender, which is why I overall have her winning the Defensive Player of the Year. Now, last but not least, we get into probably the most argumentative award of the WNBA this season, being the WNBA 2023 Most Valuable Player, the MVP. My first candidate is going to be a name I mentioned at the pretty much the very beginning of this episode, from the Seattle Storm, guard Jewel Lloyd. Lloyd has molded a great on-court list of qualifications, 2 titles, um, 2 All-Star game appearances, an All-WNBA group acknowledgement, and a Rookie of the Year. Her partners portray her as an exceptional player who is not the same as others. Lloyd's weakness isn't a shortcoming yet a strength, as indicated by her, and she embraces it. In the 2023 season, she has been averaging 23.8 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 3.3 assists per game. She was named the MVP of the 2023 WNBA All-Star Game, subsequent to establishing another scoring record. She scored 31 points in that game and drove Team Stewart to triumph over Team Wilson. In a new game against the Minnesota Lynx, she scored 18 of her 31 points in the main for the first half after Seattle Storm tried not to be cleared in the season series by the Minnesota Lynx with Sunday's 88-74 triumph at Minneapolis. This year, Jewel Lloyd is averaging 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 38% from the field, 38% from 3, and 89% from the free throw line. Jewel Lloyd has been nothing short of special and sensational this season, and the Seattle Storm would be nowhere without her stellar play this season. She's the driving force and the catalyst of what the success of the Storm has been this season, even though it hasn't been much success, but the little success that they have had has come from the great play of Jewel Lloyd. She reminds me of like a, I don't know if it's just natural appearance or just the way she plays the game, or like she reminds me a lot of Bones Highland. Um, in an event that you don't know who that is, that's point guard from the Los Angeles Clippers. But for Brianna Stewart, who was an MVP caliber talent, to leave, and for her to kind of just fill in that number one option spot, and very well at that, um, she's been doing it at a very well rate. And the Seattle Storm are still yet in good hands with Jewel Lloyd being at the front and center of the franchise. Now, second up, I have as the runner up for the WNBA MVP, Brianna Stewart. Brianna Stewart, she has been having an extraordinary season up until this point. In the game against the Indiana Fever on Sunday, August 13th, um, 2023, she scored 42 points, had six assists, and six rebounds. She likewise set her vocation high in focus and points on May 21st, 2023, when she got 18 rebounds and scored 29 points, along with two assists, two steals, and one block. In the game against the Chicago Sky on Friday, August 11th, 2023, she had 21 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. You can track down any additional data about her measurements in the last couple of games um, through the Liberty's 11 game July record, when the group completed a 9-2 record on the way to the best beginning in franchise history. Stewart posted an association best of 24 and a half focuses points per game, alongside 8 rebounds and 3 assists per game on 45% shooting from the field and 41% shooting from three, and 87% at the free throw line. Set the Liberty franchise record for most professional 40-point games with her 43-point execution on July 5th. Turned into the principal player with various 40-point games in a season starting um, around 2018. Recorded the second at any point round of no less than 40 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists in WNBA history. She set herself as the quickest Liberty player to 500 points as an individual from the um, franchise. She turned into the principal player with 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, in only one half on July 27th. And she added up to the second ever 30-point, 10 rebound, 5 assists, 0 turnover game. She also joined Maya Moore as the main players to have recorded 500 points, 200 rebounds, and 50 made threes through their initial 25 games of their time on July 30th. Maya Moore did as such in her MVP year in 2014. This month-to-month honor is Stewart's 5th of her vocation, her second best of all time, and the 15th all time in Liberty history. So that just goes to show you what kind of season Brianna Stewart has been having. She's been nothing short of stellar, but that's nothing new. We all know that Brianna Stewart is one of the greatest of all time, and is slowly working her way into the WNBA hierarchy as well. But I still think she is still runner-up for MVP this year. She is very, very close, and you can make an argument. I mean, if you were to come and argue and tell me that Brianna Stewart is the WNBA MVP of this year, you can make a strong argument, and I can't go against you. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But me personally, I just feel like this person kind of just takes the cake for the WNBA MVP this year. With that being said, who I feel like is going to win the WNBA MVP this year, running it back for the second year in a row, Las Vegas Aces forward, my girl Asia Wilson. In the event that the undefeated Aces proceed with their predominance, Asia Wilson could rehash as MVP. Notwithstanding playing less minutes this season thanks to the expansion of Candace Parker and a supported seat unit, Wilson's details are indistinguishably from her line from last season. She's averaging 19 points, 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks, along with 2 assists and 2 steals per game. Brianna Stewart has better numbers at this moment. However, in the event that Aces end the season as the WNBA's top team and Wilson keeps on driving them to a triumph, then at that point she could buy guarantee the top individual honor. The way things are, I see the two combating it out for the honor similarly as the year before. Once more, um, last year's MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, it is pioneer for the two honors. The Aces are the top group in the WNBA and the top picks to come out of on top for the title, and Wilson is the core of their offense and defense. A player who rules the closures of the court consequently has an advantage in MVP discussions, and Wilson surely does. She's averaging a close to twofold um, with 21 points, 10 rebounds per game, while recording 2 blocks on edge in. However, Wilson's significance to the Aces works out positively past her great detailed line. Protectively, her edge insurance permits that Las Vegas gatekeepers to play serious on-ball guard and face challenges that lead to runouts. They know whether they get beat off the dribble, Wilson is there to tidy up. Some will contend against Wilson's case for MVP in light of the ability she has around her with her elite play and all WNBA colleagues for being a large part of their obligation. On the other side, the Aces have 4 world-class hostile weapons, including Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young. However, they know running things through Wilson is the most ideal way to win. It's working, actually, as Wilson removes the most shots from anyone in the group at 14 points per game, and Las Vegas has the best recording in the WNBA at 27-3 record. Um, what's more, with Candace Parker out subsequent to having a medical procedure on her foot, Wilson has taken on a much more prominent job. Beginning on July 11th, she went on an 8-game stretch of at least 20 focuses per game. From that point forward, she scored more than 20 points per game in 11 of her group's last 12 games, remembering a profession high 40 focuses for success over the Mystics on Friday. Las Vegas Aces star further established her case briefly straight WNBA grant with a notably exhibition on Tuesday. Wilson tied the WNBA all-time record for points in a solitary game, scoring 53 points in a 112-100 win over the Atlanta Dream. She is the third player to score 50 points in a WNBA game, joining Liz Cambage, who set the standard in 2018, and Rakina Williams, who scored 51 points in 2013. In expansion to shooting 16 of 23 from the field, Wilson went 20 of 21 from the free throw line. She has just a single three-pointer, while likewise adding 7 rebounds and 4 blocks. Her past season high in points was 40, which came under 2 weeks prior in a success over the Washington Mystics. Behind Wilson's excellent execution, the Aces improved to 29-4 to keep up the association's best record. Wilson is engaging with New York Liberty star Brianna Stewart for the season MVP grant, which would be the 4th of her profession. Stewart has been great in driving the Liberty, who are 25-7, to the second best record in the association, Yet Wilson might have pulled away in the race with 2 days' performance, predominant trip. So in 2023-2024, A'ja Wilson is averaging 21 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 53% from the field, 21% from the 3-point line, and 80% from the free throw line. Yeah, A'ja Wilson is special. She's well deserving of the WNBA MVP award this year. I believe she's going to get it. I mean, she's on the best team in all the WNBA. She is the pivotal reason for it. So I think it's no doubt in my mind that she's going to get this award again for the second straight year, along with the DPOY once again. And yeah, that is my prediction for the WNBA awards of 2023-2024 season. I appreciate you guys for listening and tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and get this edited so I can get both of these episodes out to y'all as soon as possible. All love, man. I love y'all. Have a great rest of y'all Wednesday. I will see you guys very soon. And always remember, don't underestimate, appreciate. And without further ado, I'm gone.